Want to show a guy you like him without ever having to talk to him first? Curious about what body language you might be giving off that's telling guys you're not interested? I'm about to cover all that in this female body language 101 tutorial right now. Hey everybody, I'm dating and relationship coach Ryan Patrick. So a couple weeks ago, I did an expanded tutorial on how to read male body language so you could determine their level of interest in you. Now, I'm about to dive into 10 body language signs that you absolutely should be giving your crush or guys that you're interested in to let them know you like them. And I'm also gonna discuss the 3 worst body language signs that tells men they shouldn't approach you. So you can use those signs with the guys that you're not interested in. And I'd like to thank XYZ123 for recommending this video topic on how women should be approaching men. And especially for those of you who might be a little bit more shy and would rather do this through body language signs rather than going up and having a conversation to start. So thank you XYZ123, this video is for you. So real quickly, I want to highlight 3 important facts you need to understand about body language in general. The first one is women are much better at reading body language from both men and women than men. The second is a recent MRI study was done on the brain, and when men and women were asked to interpret body language, the study found 15 regions of a woman's brain were active while she was interpreting body language signals versus only 5 regions of a man's brain that were active while he was interpreting body language. So clearly overall, a woman's brain is much more active during this process than a man's brain. And the third thing is because of this lower brain activity with men, it actually takes them 4 times as many body language signals to understand and interpret that you actually like him. So what does that mean for you? Well, unfortunately, it means that you're going to have to give him 4 times as many signals for him to pick up on the fact that you're into him. So let's get to work, shall we? Here are 10 body language signals you can start giving to men today to let them know that you're interested in them. First, starting with the more obvious signals and then gradually moving towards more subtle signals. The first sign is playing with your hair. Now, we probably all heard this sign by now, but it turns out that this signal, when you start playing with your hair, is the first thing a guy notices when it comes to body language, and he will start looking for other signs as a result of seeing you do this. Simply placing your hair behind your ear while you're talking to him, or twirling your hair with your finger, or smoothing out your hair will do just fine. And he's gonna be more likely to notice this while you're speaking to him, so just take note of that. The second sign is deliberate eye contact. When eye contact happens, it can be electric for the 2 people involved that are sharing that intense glance with one another. Eye contact can be done from across the room from him or while you're right there speaking with him. But of course, you're better off getting closer to him so he really notices it and engages with it. If you happen to be across the room from him, make sure you maintain that eye contact for at least 3 seconds before you break off. And make sure you do break off eye contact at least momentarily if you're across the room, because you don't want to come off like some deranged stalker. Of course, maintaining that eye contact while you're engaged with him and speaking with him is perfectly fine. The third sign is the walk by. This sign is a great one because it involves more than just one sense, which is sight, but it can also involve things like scent and also touch if you're close enough to him. Only do this one if you know you're smelling great, but if he's with a small group of people, make sure you walk by him about a foot away from the group and just keep walking by while you give him a quick glance. Not only is he gonna be able to feel the air as you move by, but he's also gonna pick up on that hint of perfume you might be wearing, which will certainly get his attention. The fourth sign is forcing the target. Again, if you're at a party or you're in a space where there's a large amount of people, what you wanna do is position yourself right in front of his field of view. By doing this and being right in front of him, you're gonna stand out immediately, especially if you're darting a few glances at him. This is just the initial setup. Now I'll jump into what to do once you're front and center. The fifth sign is the breech. The breech includes not only getting into his personal sphere, which is about 4 feet radius around him, but also getting into his intimate zone, which is a 2-foot radius around him. The first thing to remember is you wanna be smiling as you're entering clearing that first personal sphere threshold. If he isn't talking to anyone, he sees you and then smiles back, you now have permission to move into his intimate zone. This tees you up perfectly to initiate a conversation with him. So keep that smile up as you move closer and have 1 to 2 questions ready, just so you can keep him talking a little bit. The 6th sign is offering a full smile. I discussed a full smile in my video a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to mention it again because it's so important in order to convey that interest to someone genuinely. A full smile involves showing your top and your bottom teeth, as well as activating muscles in other parts of your face, like your cheeks, your jawline, and also the muscles around your eyes. Flash one of these right when you approach him. If he feels the chemistry between you two, he's gonna flash one of these right back at you. The 7th sign is the tease and touch. This is where things get fun, because this is where you get to touch him. Things are gonna be going off in his brain at this point to tell him something's going on here. Drop a funny, sarcastic, teasing type line on him, and then start laughing while you touch him on the arm real quick, just to let him know you're kidding. Anytime we're touched, we immediately focus on what all of our senses are experiencing, and there you'll be smiling and having a good time with him. The 8th sign is the playful push. The playful push is a slightly more aggressive move if you feel this boy is just not getting it. So you're doing this almost to say, hey, wake up, dude, I like ya. So a light playful push should happen right after he says something funny or sarcastic to you. You want to aim for lightly pushing on his shoulder or the center of his chest. And don't do this too hard. We're not trying to hurt anybody here or throw anybody's balance off. Just a nudge. The 9th sign is presenting your neck. This is one I notice in public all the time and one I think is extremely effective. And the reason I think it's so good is that there's just this nice sensuality to it. So one possibility of this is maybe flipping your hair to one side and casually running your fingers down your neck as he's speaking to you. The neck is a very vulnerable area, so when you present a bare neck to a man, it basically subconsciously signals to him that you want him to kiss you there. The 10th sign is drawing attention to your lips. Hopefully during your interactions with these guys, your lips are taken care of and they're nice and supple and moist. Drawing attention to them while you're speaking with him is going to be a really helpful signal that you're interested in him and that you're enjoying his company. While he's speaking, you can casually lick your lips, but what's even better is if you have some chapstick or lipstick that you can quickly apply while he's talking. And of course, as always, maintain that great eye contact while you're doing this. Believe me, he's gonna feel the temperature in the room start to rise while he's with you. Now let's jump into those top 3 worst body language signals you can give a guy that accidentally tells him that you're not interested in him. The first bad sign is crossing your arms. Now, fixing or smoothing out your clothes while you're speaking to him is a great sign. Just make sure that action doesn't end with you crossing your arms. By doing this, you cut off all your free-flowing energy to him. Sure, it's more comfortable to cross your arms while you're listening to someone, but it also tells him that you're bored and you want to get out of there. The second bad sign is looking restless. Now this one is funny because this actually means the complete opposite of what it means when a guy is fidgety in front of you. To minimize this, if you find yourself a little nervous while you're speaking with him, just focus on slowing all of your movements down to half speed. Slow and still movements convey confidence and also show him that you're comfortable in the moment. The third bad sign is recoiling to his touch. This one usually happens by accident because you're just not expecting him to brush past you or touch you, so your natural reaction is to recoil back. If it happens, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you're giving him all of these other positive signs to make up for that response. The reason you want to start laying on more and more positive signals if you found that you just did that is because when we recoil from something, it's signaling to the other person that we didn't like what just happened. And of course, if you don't want a guy touching you, make that very clear and well known with your body language or your words if necessary. It's important for him to know what you're comfortable with, but also what you're not comfortable with. The main thing to remember with body language is that it's an exchange, just like having a conversation with somebody. You speak, and then they speak, and so on. Sure, you want to be giving off signs that you're into him, but you also want to be listening with your eyes to make sure that you are also getting positive signals from him that he's also into you. 93% of all communication is nonverbal, which makes using and understanding and interpreting body language a very powerful tool. Guys, if you like this video, please give it a like below. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, I would be much obliged if you would do so below, as well as turning on all of those notifications so you never miss a tip. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I'll see you guys next week.